Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. We are here. We are setting up. We are almost ready to go because we are going to talk about Monarch Legacy of Monsters, Season 2, Episode 1, entitled Cause and Effect. Thank you all so much for joining me. And as you come in, please make sure that you are hitting that like button. If you have followed me on my other channel, which is Pam Entertainment TV, you will find out that sometimes it's easier for me to go live than it is for me to sit down and do a video. So here are my two channels. We are current Pam Entertainment TV is my initial channel. So please go follow me over there. And if you are coming and you like what you see, please make sure that you are hitting that like button because we are about to get into Monarch Season 2, Episode 1. Listen, last season was a lot. And so, if we're just going to do a brief recap, we are recapping the adventures, as I call it, of Keiko, Shaw, and Bill Rando. And if we're not familiar of these, particularly Bill Rando is the character that we are more familiar with because of the fact that he was the explorer that was in the researcher from Monarch that was killed on Skull Island by Kong and that crew back in the 50s or the 60s, right? And so with the way this series goes, it takes us from the beginning and it looks like it's going to take us up until past Godzilla the first episode, Godzilla the first episode. And so we are there. Now this show does time travel, it does flashbacks, it does a whole lot of stuff. So you all forgive me because this particular episode is going through a lot. Now you will know where I'm at because I'm going to say things like meanwhile da 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 because that's going to keep you up as to where we are and what we're doing. Now, at the end of last season, we saw that Keiko, Shaw, Kate, and I think her name is Carol. I think her name in a minute. But they were coming back from Axis Mundi, and Shaw had to let go because they were having issues and problems with hooking things up. So now what we get in this episode, they come back from Axis Mundi. Kate is rejoined by she rejoins her brother and her father. She introduces her grandmother Keiko to her brother and her father. Carol is her name. Her name is Carol. I think her name is Carol. Anyway, they're reintroduced. They find out that they have been away for 2 years. So they started out in 2015. Now it's 2017. So the present time for them is 2017. And you can juxtapose that with as where they are as far as with the movies. And I'll go back through that later on. But that's where they are at 2017, it looks like. They come back from Axis Mundi, and Apex Cybernetics is the one that brings them back. And you remember old Brenda, who was doing who was doing way too much. She was team do too much. Give me a minute. Doing too much. Let that scroll. When they come back, Kong is wrecking shop. He is knocking everything out. He's doing all of this stuff. Now, this makes me believe that this is during the time. Well, I'm not going to go there. I'll find the movies. But anyway, what I want to do right now is just give you the information. So Kong is wrecking shop. They escape to the Monarch Outpost 18, which is aboard a ship. Now, what happens is while Kong is wrecking shop, everyone escapes but end up on a Monarch facility. Keiko tries to escape looking for Hiroshi with his bigamous ass. But anyway, aboard a ship, and they're aboard Outpost 18. Kong continues to be out there wrecking shop. He's tearing up that whole outpost, that Skull Island outpost. Because you remember, Skull Island is where Bill Rando met his fate. And I don't know why they didn't mention that to Keiko at the time, but that's where he met his fate. So Keiko appears to be sick and she asks for who's in charge. She meets Natalia Verdugo. Keiko wants to know that when they're going to go back for Shaw. The director Vago says they're not going back to Shaw. She says Kong is making it very impossible to go back for Shaw. Keiko faints and has a flashback. And her and Bill are in Chile looking for sea serpents. So there is a connection, in my opinion, between Keiko having this flashback and what's going on in present day 2017. Meanwhile, in present day 2017, on the outpost ship, Kate and Kentaro and her brother talk about what's next. Kate wants to go back and get Shaw. Kentaro tells her that it's unsafe. Kate's like, I want to go back and see Shaw. Meanwhile, in Axis Mundi, where Shaw was left, he drops back down to the ground and he looks grim, because he's thinking, or if the realization for him is settling in that he may have to spend the rest of his life in Axis Mundi. Meanwhile, back in the present 2017, on Outpost 18, Keiko undergoes testing and her son is by her side singing songs. Kate walks in and asks how Keiko is doing. Keiko was sedated. Kate tells Hiroshi that she needs his help and she wants to go back and get Shaw. Hiroshi says that Monarch has had the island off limits. Kate's not hearing that mess. She says that when did Hiroshi ever follow the rules? And he has never. This is the bigamist. Got 2 whole families and is selfish as a mug. He never followed any rules, ever. He has never followed any rules. So why are we expecting him to be following rules now? She's adamant that Kate is adamant and she wants her father to help her. He breaks down and says that, he says he breaks down and says he's going to come with her. And she tells him, listen, Keiko needs Shaw. She needs him. And which is true because Shaw is her link. He is her linchpin, her link, her tether, so to speak, from her old world to the new world. So she really, truly needs Shaw to be able to. Could she live without Shaw? She could. But right now she does need it. She's coming from Axis Mundi where she thinks she's been gone for 2, 3, 4 weeks. And she's been gone for 20, 30, 40 years. So anyway, not Carol. Her name is Cora. Cora is in her bunk. And she is listening to Apex woman Brenda pitch her a line about coming back with her. She knows that because Cora is a computer programmer, that she knows that she has all these skills and she has all this information from being in Axis Mundi. Apex wants to get that information. Cora turns her down. She goes at the top of the ship. Kate asks Cora to help. Cora's like, I don't know. I don't know if I need help. And I'm not really, really sure, but is there some sexual tension between Cora and Kate? Mostly on Cora's side? That's the way it feels. It feels like Kate is oblivious she seems oblivious to what's going on, but it seems like Cora is doing a lot. It would seem more that Cora would do it for Kentaro, since her and Kentaro had a relationship, versus her doing it for Kate. But I don't know exactly what's really going on with that, but it does feel like a little tension, sexual tension going on in there. So what they devise a plan, I guess, and Cora is at the command post listening to Tim talk about the wonders of Outpost 18. Now she's looking at the monitors to make sure that Kate and Hiroshi and Kentaro get off the boat. It's successful. They all get off the boat and they make it to Skull Island. Now, they go through the storm and everything, and it says that by Hiroshi and Kentaro's kind of sensing what's going on, they're saying that they have 8 hours to complete their task. What's interesting to me that they're walking through this island, and as I wrote this, a couple of minutes later, things started to happen because I couldn't understand. They're walking through this island as just walking through the island like nothing is going on. Meanwhile, if you remember Bill Rando's team, with Samuel Jackson playing in there when they were going to Kong Skull Island, you remember that team was attacked immediately as they went on the island, and it wasn't it. The things that are going on now weren't happening back then. And so it's interesting to me that they got down on this island with all the creatures just being overactive and nothing was happening. They were strolling and having little big old conversations. As they walk, there's some creature who has a flying creature that has electricity coming out of his mouth. It's survival of the fittest going on. He's taking down creatures. They're standing there. For some reason, it doesn't feel like he senses them, or it doesn't feel like they are a threat to him, but he pulls a worm out the ground. He eats it. He flies off, and then they keep walking. Meanwhile, in Keiko's flashback, remember, did I tell you that what she had the flashback for? Okay, Keiko faints and she has a flashback when she, Bill, and Shaw were in Chile looking for sea serpents. Okay, so meanwhile, back in her flashback, the trio reaches this town, and when they get there on this town is almost you thought it was empty because there's really no movement. And as they walk along, they see people. They see the people inside. They're looking out of the window. There are different symbols and things like that on the window. There's a lady sitting on the porch and she's getting like the nets and stuff done. So they continue to walk until they get to the middle of town. And then they see this big circular thing. Now, to me, when I saw it, it looked like an altar, like there was some kind of ritual that happens there or something. So they go into the bar, and Bill has no situational awareness. He just walks in, hey, how you doing? Starts taking pictures, and then he messes around and he gets beat down. So Shaw calms everything down. They sit at the table. He tells Bill, basically, you need to be aware of your situation and surroundings and learn how to read the damn room, because you just burst up in here without thinking about something. And they see this creature that's sitting on top of the bar, and it looks like one of them big old sea bugs. People in Florida, I've seen people in Florida look like not Florida, like Japan or Korea or somewhere. I've seen these big old bugs like this there, but they looked a little different. These look like they have like a harder shell. But anyway, Bill is starting to sketch that crab-like creature at the chair. And then the barmaid, who kind of help Shaw stop the fight, she comes over and she asks Bill to dance. And Bill's like, I can't. I'm spoken for. And so Keiko said, go dance. So they go dance. And they're out there dancing, and Bill is awkward as usual. But Shaw takes this time to try to shoot his shot at Keiko. Now, the thing about Shaw and Keiko, particularly in these flashbacks, and if you realize in last season, there's a lot of flirting going on. She's not going to date Shaw because she's in love with Bill. Bill's in love with her, but there's a lot of flirting between her and Shaw. And I think that is why Shaw takes so much interest in trying to make sure that he was helping the grandchildren, the son, and all this other stuff, because there was just a lot of flirting going on between her and Shaw. And it's constant too. But so meanwhile, back on Skull Island 2017, the team Cora, Kate, Hiroshi, and Kataro, they walking through, and they end up walking past Kong, who is asleep, dead to the world, child. Kong is getting that good sleep. He out in the sun. He getting that good old sleep. They walk past him, and Cora steps on a tree branch. It cracks. They all panic because they think Kong has heard them. Child, next thing you know, Kong is rolling over, because again, that's that good sleep. That's good sleep. He's scratching and whatnot. He rolls over and rolls his hand to go back like this. And baby, Kate is standing there. She screams. And then the next thing you know, she comes out from behind him because she falls right between his two middle fingers because that's how he falls. Baby, I thought Kate was gone. I really did think. I thought Kate was gone. Okay, so meanwhile on Outpost 18, Keiko wakes up. She's on the bridge. She's talking with Tim. She sees and she's in wonderment of all the new technology. And she feels kind of funny because she's like, I don't know if I could be, with all this new technology, I don't know how helpful I will be in Monarch. And Tim basically tells her, no, Monarch needs you because all Monarch does is take scans, uh, uh, does testing, all of these things, but they're not really working to understand the creatures or do anything with the creatures. They're not doing any of that. They're just sitting around. Um, he's saying that he wants it to go back to the glory of Monarch when they were out looking for creatures and testing and doing all these other stuff. He's wanting them to get back back to the glory days of Monarch. That's what Tim wants. That's why he signed on, because he wanted to get them to the glory days of Monarch. So while Tim tells her that, Keiko approaches a director Vertigo, and asks what they're looking at and when they're going to go back to get Shaw. She says, I can't. Vertigo says, the director says, I can't afford to lose any more people. And they're looking over the footage of Skull Island. And then Keiko looks and she says, what's that? And she sees the creature and she remembers that creature from the flashback. And she tells him, oh, we got to go back because this ain't good. This ain't good at all. So meanwhile, in the flashback, in Keiko's flashback, Bill is dancing with the barmaid and she tells him that she knows why the trio is there. She shows Bill a tattoo, and Bill tells her about the time that his ship got attacked by the monsters, and he says why he's doing what he's doing. The barmaid tells Bill that, hey, this is a religion to them. They will prune you from the timeline if you discover their secrets. And she says the town worships this creature because it brings a bounty and seafood and all this other stuff to the village. And so she says that the town people will kill to protect their secrets, and she begs Bill to leave. Begs him to leave. So also, the barmaid, they go outside and they're discussing the fact that the barmaid knows something. And the barmaid comes out. She scares him, really. She says, if I show you something, is the agreement that you will leave. So she ends up taking them to a cave. And in this cave, you see all the drawings about this particular sea creature. And, Keiko and Bill are mesmerized because, this is just right up their alley. So meanwhile, back on Skull Island, the team reaches the outpost, and it's destroyed because Kong wrecked shop. They find the pods. They're trying to fix them, but they need power. So what's his name? Cora and Kentaro go to turn the backup generators on. Kate asks Hiroshi why does he have the family, and his goofy tale doesn't explain really in depth, other than the fact that basically he met one woman because they worked in Monarch. They got along. There was something that he gleaned from her, and then the other woman, he couldn't tell her about what's going on. So, but she let him be who he was, and so he loved that about her. But either way, bigamist ass. Can't stand him. I said bigamist babble. That's all it was to me. So Cora and Kentaro find the generator. They act him, and as soon as they activate, this big old creature comes out. They end up defeating the creature because Kentaro gets in the forklift and he stabs the creature. So meanwhile, on Axis Mundi, Shaw comes upon this big pig deer creature, and he's ready to fight. He's ready to kill. He's just ready to resign himself to the fact that he's going to be on Axis Mundi. So meanwhile, Tim, Vertigo, and Keiko find out that the other people are gone, and then they fly out to Skull Island because they need to warn them about what's impending and what's to come, because they know Kate wants to open that portal. So meanwhile, on Skull Island, they get the machinery working, everything is working fine, and then the helicopters come, but Hiroshi is hesitant. Hiroshi tells Kate that they figured out all this stuff during optimal conditions. This is not an optimal condition, and he's afraid that something is going to happen. Right? So as the helicopters are, I meant to say too, as the helicopters are arriving, Kanoshi, what's her name? Kanoshi sees these flying creatures, and if I'm not mistaken, these are same flying creatures that were flying around when they were trying to get out of the Axis Mundi the first time. Also, when the helicopters arrived, they want them to leave. Everybody was getting ready to leave. Kate says she's not leaving. Her grandmother's saying, look, I've lost one family. I can't lose anymore. We'll try, we'll dust ourselves off and try again. Kate has some flashback about Shaw saving her. Next thing you know, she presses that button. It opens that portal and Kong wakes up. So meanwhile, in Axis Mundi, Shaw was getting ready to fight the pig creature, but then the portal opens and then he sees the pod come through. He runs to the pod, but these little bug creatures are running through the pod as well. Baby, he runs to the pod. He's fighting bug monsters. And then he gets on top of the thing. He opens it up and then he's looking. And I'm like, Shaw, you don't have time to look. Get your butt in there so that you can get back through this portal. So he closes it. But what he doesn't realize is that there's a damn bug monster in there. He buckles up and he gets ready to go. And he, the pod seat turns on a swivel. He turns to press the button and that doggone bug creature hits him. Baby, they fighting to the death and Shaw ends up winning. They have the portal open and there's this creature that's coming through the portal. I don't know exactly what this creature is, but this creature is coming through the portal. Kong gets there, and as the creature is coming through the portal, Shaw gets through. She gets out of the portal, but as the creature is coming through, it's got like tentacles like an octopus. It just side swipes Director Vertigo, and she gone. She with the ancestors right now. And so Kong destroys the portal, but the sea creature is here. And that sea creature is Kong tried to chase it out to the water, but the sea creature beat him out there to that water. And Kong looked up at them helicopters, and I swear Kong was looking like, you sons of bitches. The sea creature gets away, and that's on Kate. That's on Kate. So whatever happens, if this sea creature hits and kills somebody, that is on Kate. Because honestly and truly, they could have actually waited to save Shaw. But that's the end of the first episode. What do you all think? Let me know down below. All right, people. We do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. I'm getting ready to watch the second episode. And once I watch the second episode, I'm going to upload that as well. All right, people. Please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. I do want to give a summary before I go. What's interesting to me is that now all of them are going to be together. Keiko, Hiroshi, Shaw, Kate, and Kentaro, they're all going to be together. And what's going to be interesting to me is to see how they interact as a family. Will that put Korra on the sidelines? I don't know. She's got options. I just don't know why she is not using the options that she has. We definitely will see. So far, this first episode, I like the fact that we saw Godzilla. I like the fact that we saw Kong. The continuity of everything works. There's action, there's sciencey stuff, all of this stuff. So I'm excited for the next episode. All right, people. And as always, bye bye.